that even mean, Bowers?
YouTube, we're back again for more of our Gen Con Bonanza Explosion blog coverage here live at Gen Con 2023. And I'm excited to be here with Jeff about Vrahode game system, which is going to be coming out soon. But hey, Jeff, what is this?
Well, this is the game we've been working on for 3 years. It's a middleweight fantasy adventure / dungeon crawl game based on a world that I came out with in 1990 when I was a fine arts student at Ball State. I always wanted to write it into novels, but I kind of labor over writing, and so I just realized I needed to enlist some heavy hitters to get the thing done. And so I got the help from an amazing writer and a bunch of artists from around the world, and we're just at the point where we're wrapping up the rules of the game, and we're launching on Kickstarter March 5th. So pretty exciting stuff. It's not a heavy lift. It's not Gloomhaven. Basically, what I like to tell people is if Gloomhaven and Hero Quest had a baby in an art gallery, and it was raised by Uncle Shadows of Brimstone, that's kind of the pedigree of this system. It's meant to be, have fast, fun, and consequential combat. We give you that at the cost of some realism and some tactical depth, and that's okay with us because this is the game that we want to make. And so far, I mean, in the demos, people are responding really well. I've had some young players, younger than 10, pick the game right up, which is really what we want, because a game is only good if you can actually get people to play it. And I mean, I love Gloomhaven, don't get me wrong. But if you can only play it with hardcore gamers, you're going to play it a lot less. This game, really, 8-year-olds can grasp it pretty readily. But it's a fresh take on what a fantasy world can be. So, we're all fans of fantasy, right? But everything we play in fantasy has either Gary Gygax's stamp on it or J.R.R. Tolkien, right? Everything. We have no humans, elves, dwarves, demons, dragons, trolls, undead, devils, werewolves, vampires. This is a brand new world. That's what a hero looks like.
So how does the game work?
Okay, so basically, this dashboard controls a lot of the data points for your hero. The stats and your life and movement are all down here from your card, okay? And in the world of Vrahode, we call magic rule. You have rule to spend during every waking period. And as you use your skills, you have to spend these crystals in order to fuel these skills. There's no cooldown for any of the skills. You can use this one turn, pay the rule to use it. The very next turn, you can use it again as long as you have enough crystals to fuel that skill. So it's going to tell you how much it costs to cast it and what the range is. And if you'll notice, there's no iconography on any of the components of this game. We wanted to make all of the language very simple and easy to follow without you having to learn all these silly symbols. So we don't have any symbols here. It's just straight talk. So it allows you to enjoy the fun of sitting across from friends and playing a game without having to crack a rule book all the time. And so that's important for us, is to make this system accessible for people. And then up here in the top of the dashboard, we have your backpack slot and we have your equipped items slot. These are the things you're wearing or using. So these things are safe from loss. They're safe from being stolen. But this stuff, the world can take this stuff from you. Enemies can break this stuff. So, but this does the heavy lifting so that when you and I sit down to play, we get to focus on the fun and not the rules.
So what are the extra boards down here? How does that work?
Okay, so most of the action in our game happens on we have 32 encounter maps. They're 18-inch encounter maps, and this is where you use your miniatures. You zoom in here, you play out the battles here, and then you zoom back out to the Overland map where your party is represented by a banner. So you travel together here. If you're in the plains and you encounter an enemy, well, guess what? We're going to zoom you into the plains to play the battle. If you're traveling and you go into the forests, we're going to zoom into the forest and let you play there. And if you'll notice, there's yellow and red dots here. Each of these 32 encounter maps has different terrain. Yellow is difficult terrain and red is impassable. And we also have terrain miniatures that you can modify these with when you're playing the campaign or in quests. And they'll tell you, place a tree stump here, place walls here, so that every time you play these, they play differently. Now, this is a big mess right now because I just got done running a demo, so I threw all the minis in here. But this is our token set for the game, so we don't have a whole lot of tokens in the game, but they're all very easy to understand. There's no words on any of them, and they're double-sided. One of the things I hate is getting a game with a lot of tokens and having to flip over to the right side of the token to know what it is. We don't do that. And then
I see a lot of cards. I feel like that's going to be the meat right there.
That's right. That's right. This is how we get rid of the need for a DM or a GM. We get rid of that by virtue of having 23 card decks in the game system. There's over 1,500 cards in the core box and over 1,800 in the entire series. And so when you're exploring in the Overlands, you're going to use the Overland Exploration deck. When you rest in the Overlands, you're going to go use the Overland Rest deck. When you go to the Underlands, you'll use the Underland Exploration deck. And when you rest there, you'll use the Underland Rest deck. When you travel the oceans, you'll have an Ocean Exploration deck. And so these cards will help you to play without a GM or DM and have an extremely immersive experience. To me, this is the holy grail of gaming. Can I play a game solo and have it not feel flat? And we think that we've done it.
And I think I saw that there was a certain number of hours you guys were saying that this plays or it's going to play.
Well, the campaign book for the core box is 2 inches thick.
Wow.
Okay, we have over 600,000 words in our series, or the equivalent of 8 to 9 American novels.
Okay.
Okay, now,
I think that's a leading with holy guacamole. That's impressive.
well, but you have to realize that in today's gaming environment, a lot of people shy away from the word campaign game because they just don't have the time. So we have a campaign book that's 2 inches thick. We have a quest book that's 2 inches thick. And in the quest book, you can play expeditions, which are 7 to 12 quests long. You can play missions, which are 2 to 4 quests long. You can play skirmishes, which are single region missions where you fight multiple waves of enemies. You can do ancient errands, which are very short, concise little hour or less quests. Or the way we've been running these demos is we're playing strictly procedurally. In other words, we're letting the cards run the game. I get them started, I tell them how to play, and then I leave.
Oh, wow.
And they play it themselves without me there, and then I come back and say, did you like it better with me here or without me? And invariably, it's about half and half because they like to have someone show them. But then when you're playing a cooperative game like this where you're trying to win together, it makes them more cohesive. They're like, okay, what do you think I should do? And that's a good positive when a game will play that well without me and they can have a blast playing it. So that's an important part of ours is no GM, and it plays just as well with one person as it does with 6. The system breaks after 6. So it's a 1 to 6 player experience. The decks are designed for it. And we have 32 scaling mechanisms in our rule system that ensures that whether you're playing solo or whether you're playing with 6 people, it's challenging. Because we don't want this to be a cakewalk. Now, we're not setting out to make Darkest Dungeon where you feel like a meat sack and you're just waiting to die. But we want that challenge level really high so that you feel accomplished when you win treasure, when you get loot. And this is challenging. Let me tell you.
Very, very cool, Jeff. It looks like your cup of tea. Be sure to check out that link down below. As always, if you enjoyed the Gen Con coverage, be sure to click on that subscribe button down below as I'm trying to reach 17,000 subscribers in 2023. Make my best year ever. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.
Thanks for us.
This video is brought to you by all of my amazing Patreon supporters, and I would love it if you would join their ranks and have your name immortalized in the end of many of my videos for the end of time. But consider for only $1 a month, and as always, thanks for stopping by.